Hello. So here's my FJ. This one's got about 149,000 miles on it. This one has been in my family since it was brand new, and this is the one I just got for about $3,000. So I'll show you guys how or why I got it for so cheap. And it's not great, but it's only got 141,000 miles. It's four-wheel drive. The four-wheel drive works. The electronic locker works. It's an 07. This is an 08. This also has four-wheel drive and electronic locker and all works. This one actually has less miles than mine, but it's also got some cosmetic damage, like right there. There's a dent on this rear quarter panel right there. There's some minor scratches. And what else was there? A couple more minor stuff. There's a dent in the fender. This is all pretty minor in comparison to how much I paid for it. But if we come back here, this isn't bad either, but it's related to the big issue with it. So if you look at that, it's a little messed up. And the reason I got it for cheap was because I think at some point it was a Minnesota car, and so the frame is pretty rusty. This back part isn't horrible compared to the front, but it's still really, really bad. Like, if you look at this, that's it'll need to be replaced, and it's not the safest, especially if you get rear-ended or if you get in some sort of major accident. So look at that mount. It works oh so well. So yeah, it's got a rusty frame, but mechanically it is very sound. I'll show you another bad part that I have learned about. Oh, not that it matters, but I also got it with a full tank of gas, which is kind of awesome considering gas right now is, where I am, it's $3.90 for a gallon of 91, which is what they recommend on running on the early model FJ Cruisers. As far as I can tell, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. But here's another part that's pretty bad. So I'm not gonna be using these tow points anytime soon. But AC works, heat works, and yeah. So I got it for, in my opinion, a very, very cheap price. But that comes with a caveat of a rusty frame. And so my plan is my dad has a friend out in California who has a junkyard that just bought an 07 FJ that was wrecked, and he's gonna look at the frame of that to see if it's any good or not. And if the frame's good, we're gonna buy it off of him, and we're gonna do a body swap. And this body swap probably won't happen for 2 or 3 years at least, so it'll end up being at home for a little bit. But it came with this style key, not the other one. My other FJ has the other key, but I can show you guys the mileage on it. And the interior is in pretty good shape. It just needs to be cleaned. Yeah, this is the mileage I showed on the beginning of this video, or maybe in a separate video. But yeah, everything works. As far as I can tell, it's really cool. It was a good deal. It's pretty clean for the most part, but there's definitely dirt and stuff around. It'll need to be cleaned up a little bit, but considering what I paid for it, $3,000, I still can't get over how little I paid for this one and how much they're worth right now. So even with a really, really bad rusty frame, it'll get replaced at some point, probably by Keegan and I at some point down the line. We just don't have time right now with school, and Keegan's also working on top of school. He's going to a different school now than I am. So yeah, we're just a little too busy. So yep. And then I have another video on why winches don't fit in the Warn bumper, in the Smittybilt bumper. I shouldn't say why they don't fit, why you shouldn't get the Harbor Freight one specifically for this car unless you want to go into some modification, which is honestly not a lot of modification. I just didn't feel like doing it, and I can stick a Warn winch in there a lot more easily, so I'm just going to go with the Warn winch I already have. And yeah, so part of the reason I guess I didn't explain in the other video as to why I have that Harbor Freight winch is because I'm going to be installing that Harbor Freight winch onto a trailer, so we can pull cars onto the trailer and not have to push them all the time when the cars don't work. So yeah, this thing is going to end up going home at some point. I'm at college, and college for me is about 12 hours from home. So it'll probably go home during Christmas break, and right now it's September-ish when I'm filming this video. So yeah, I'm going to have to drive this thing 12 hours, and Keegan and I looked it over, and it's safe enough to drive home. As long as, yeah, it's safe enough to drive home. Certain parts of the frame definitely need to be redone, or the frame's going to get replaced. I plan on replacing the frame, but I don't know how the condition of the frame is, of the one we plan to buy. So we'll see. Today is actually a Sunday. My dad said his friend's going to call him back tomorrow to ask about the condition of the frame to make sure it's not twisted or part of it's gone. And as long as most of that frame is good, we can probably cut off part of another frame from somewhere else and just weld that on, or just find another frame that's good. But we figured we have a friend that might be able to hook us up for cheap, so we're going to see if we can go that route. But yeah, so $3,000 FJ, and not gonna lie, I really enjoy it. You wouldn't believe how much of a difference 33-inch mud tires do in slowing you down, and how much noise they make compared to stock. I completely forgot what the jump was. This feels like it has 50% more power than this one does, and this one hasn't been re-geared or anything. It's still on the stock 373s. But the only difference is now each tire weighs 40 pounds more than the stock ones. The stock tire and wheel is about 60 pounds. I weighed these ones in at about 100. And so it's 40 pounds per corner of unsprung weight. And so that's going to slow your car down a lot. And not to mention, it's a higher brick now. So, it might be hard to tell in the video, but my FJ is definitely a good bit higher than the stock ones, and so that doesn't help with fuel economy either. And I don't know what I'm getting for fuel economy on this one. I remember what I was getting on this FJ when it was still stock height. I was getting about 20 to 21 miles to the gallon on highway, and I didn't do a lot of city driving with this one, but I would say maybe about 16 city, give or take. Now with these tires and all these modifications, I'm getting 16 to 18 on the highway, 18 on a really good day if there's like a tailwind. So it's really hard to get 18 miles to the gallon with this thing right now and the way it sits. And then in the city it's way worse. It gets down to like 11 or 12 miles to the gallon, and that's without the rooftop tent on. I usually have a Smittybilt rooftop tent on, but I took it off and I just haven't been using it. So yeah, that rooftop tent definitely makes gas mileage worse too. I would say it knocked it down about 2 or 3 miles to the gallon when I had this thing on highway, because you're basically adding a giant cube on top of a brick. So yep. But yeah, this is the new FJ, new to me FJ for right now. It'll probably end up getting a frame, but yeah, something else I want to do too that isn't done on mine is I actually want to have my front windows tinted. And at some point I have another set of these wheels back at home that don't have that black paint on them. I could probably just clean these off, but I just have other wheels I can swap on them right away when I get home that don't need to be done. So yeah, and then there's my dog Cruiser. Hi Cruiser, what's up buddy? He's a good boy. He's only about 9 months old. Not that you guys care, but just a little update. So yeah, $3,000 FJ. It was a steal. It's been a really good time. I've only had it for a day and a half, and like I keep saying, I still can't get over how much I paid for it. So, yep.